very nice.
What are you talking about?
Enforcement vehicles before. We did cars from the 70s or the highway patrols or the big 440s, you know, they see the cops at the Plymouth with the shotgun and a radio, and that's it. No air conditioning, no nothing. You know, of course, now they're a little fancier. This is special because this is the very last Dodge Charger police car off the assembly line. The last one made, it's all certified. And we have the man here who is the CEO of Dodge. He's one of my favorite people because this is the guy that single-handedly saved the muscle car in America. You know, in the 60s and 70s, muscle cars, hugely fast, all the Chryslers, the Dodges, the Hemis, but they didn't really brake, they didn't really go around corners. The Dodge Charger was a quintessential muscle car. You just aimed it at Vegas, you press your foot on the gas, and you just go. And this is the sort of police car version of that. Let's meet Tim Kniff. Tim, come on in, my friend.
Hi, Jay.
Thank you for saving the muscle car for us.
Oh,
We
no,
appreciate it.
not me, not me. Thank you.
Well, it's true. It's really true. You really made it what it is. Well, you know, I think it started with the Blues Brothers movie. Remember? Cop car, cop engine, cop tires, cop brakes. And then suddenly everybody wanted, every kid wanted, a used police car like they had in the Blues Brothers, you know. And that makes it kind of, and they did have different brakes and everything. Now I imagine it's pretty much all the standard Charger stuff is pretty much up to a standard. Are there certain standards a police car must be built to that other cars don't?
It used to be back in the 30s,
Right.
The agencies would just buy cars that they thought worked and fit. It wasn't until the 50s that people started building actual police packages.
Right.
And now this car, when we got this platform in 2006 for the Charger, we actually started with LA County Sheriff and California Highway Patrol before we built the first one, getting their input on exactly what they wanted.
Right.
How much brakes, how much tires, how fast you need to go, what's the balance between smoothness and acceleration, and we really came up with a car that really resonated with all of them. There's actually a couple unofficial Hellcat police cars out there, so be careful wherever you are.
Right.
We didn't build them. They were confiscated from questionable people, and they became police cars. But we almost did a line of Hellcat police cars. There was one governor, I won't say the state, but there was one governor that wanted to make a big campaign out of having Hellcat state trooper cars. Don't speed in this state, we will catch you. And it got real close. It got mocked down in a little bit of politics and things like that. It didn't happen, but it was real close. That would have been a really cool car.
Yeah, that would have been really neat. Yeah, that would have been terrific. Yeah, it's too bad that never happened. Okay, so they just never built it. Too expensive? Was that probably the main reason?
Too expensive, and some of the requirements. The testing that goes into these cars is pretty amazing if you think about it. Bullshit. There's the normal things like how fast does it accelerate and things like that. But there's things you wouldn't think of. Like if you look at the sidewall on tires, it's got a very high sidewall for a modern car.
Right.
It's because it has to pass a test where it jumps a curb at speed,
right.
which you wouldn't want to do in your regular car, but you have to be able to do it in this car.
Right.
And then there's some odd tests, like it has to go in reverse and do a 180 turn over and over and over again without braking. Bullshit. And if you think about it, police do that often. Normal people don't do it. So it goes through a lot of extreme testing before it can be called an actual pursuit. Bullshit.
And how often do they service police cars? That every 3,000 miles they change the oil, or they just go the 10,000 most people do, you know?
So they actually get a ton of service because the lifespan of these cars is shockingly about 3.5 years.
Right.
And that seems really low, but that's 3.5 really rough years.
All right, very good. Brakes, are the brakes a standard Charger
Upgrade brakes.
Upgrade.
Upgrade the suspension, upgrade the wheels and tires. Cooling, very important. It's got to be able to sit for a long period of time and not overheat. Also, one of the other tests that it has to do has to be at VMAX. It has to be at wide open throttle as fast as it can go, 160 plus for 30 miles, which doesn't sound like a lot until you actually try it. That's a long time to be at that speed, and it has to do it without any problems. No overheating, still have brakes, everything. Bullshit.
Could a customer order a police package on a standard Charger or a standard Challenger? Because they have the police brakes and, like I say, the cop tires, the cop car, the cop.
If the customer's name was Jay Leno, yes.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, no.
Well, that's all that matters, really. You want to have the only one out there. Special calibrated speedometer?
Speedometer is not special calibrated, but we do make sure that we don't have any high-speed cutoffs on these cars for any of the chases.
Oh, okay.
And this car, from 2006 to this last version, we sold about 170,000 of these, which is a lot of police cars if you think about it across the country.
Yeah.
And everybody always talks about, and you were talking earlier about Hellcats and Demons and things like that. We actually sell more police cars than all of the SRT products combined.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
So it really is a good marketing tool for us. When people see them on the road, they're like, well, if the police trust them, they must be fast, they must be durable. Good enough for them, must be good enough for me.
Now, does the police package charger cost more than the customer charger? Or
I wish it did, but no. No, usually we have to sell them in very high volume.
Oh, I see.
So there's usually special package discounts.
Because you're competing against other manufacturers.
Yeah.
Somebody comes in $100 a car less, they're going to get the deal.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, these are illegal on a street car, but not on a police car, correct?
Correct.
So if you bought one of these, you'd have to take these off.
You would have to take it off.
Yeah, okay. Or not turn them on, I guess. Do you put the divider in the back?
The divider, the divider's not in there.
Okay.
I actually was happy it wasn't there because I thought you might put me in the back when
Right.
we go for a ride.
Well, you're used to being in the back, so it's nothing new for you. Well, very nice. And this is the last call, of course. That's the battle cry. Is black and white pretty much the standard color?
Nope, we do them any color that the agency wants.
Oh, I
So
see.
whether it's for Highway Patrol, whether it's Florida, whether it's North Carolina, we're the #1 police vehicle in North Carolina, we do it in their colors.
Now, are they all two-tone?
Depends on who we're building it for.
Right.
They're not all two-tone. We actually build these as a standard package, just a base car, and then we send them to our upfitter in Detroit, and they make it however that agency needs it.
Now, do you ever hear, do the FBI and those kind of organizations, do they buy police package cars as well, or just regular sedans?
Nope, they have some special packages.
And this has got the column shift, right? Now, that's new, right?
Yeah.
It's usually down here.
When we switched to the 8-speed, it took us a long time to get that engineered because all we had was a console shifter, and they need the column shifter so that they can put their laptop and all their equipment right here.
Now, you guys don't do lights and sirens. They send it out to somebody else?
There's a couple of agencies around the country that do their own, but most of them go through our upfit centers. Like we have an upfit center in GFK and Kerr. They do the vast majority of the upfits, so they're able to customize it however you want it. If you want a regular Pursuit, or if you want a K9 unit, or
Yeah.
whatever your special needs are, they can do that. That's why we don't do it for them.
So who had the very first police package deal?
The first factory police was 1950.
Yeah.
That was Ford.
Oh, Ford with the flathead V8?
Then 55 was Chevy,
Right.
and we still didn't have one. And this is why it's interesting that this is a muscle car and a police car. Is early 50s, mid 50s, Southern California, the hot rod community was really building up. And
Right.
California Highway Patrol came to Dodge and said, the cars we got aren't fast enough to catch these guys. We want you guys to build one. And that's how we got into the police car business.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, yeah.
We built the 56 Coronet, and then for CHP, we did 200 special versions of the D500, which, as you know, was not the first muscle car as a car, but it was the first muscle car as a package.
Right,
It was
right.
the D500 package on the Coronet.
Right. Oh, that's it.
So the first cop car was a muscle car, and now the last cop car is a muscle car.
Yeah, that's funny.
The Dodge police cars have been in a lot of movies, from the Blues Brothers to all the way up to NCIS to you name it.
Do movie studios come to you guys looking for police cars, or they get them from somewhere else?
In a roundabout sort of way, they come to us, but there are companies out there that supply cars.
Right.
But yeah, they do come to us from time to time. My favorite fun fact about undercover cars, in our Pursuit package, we give you the ability to shut off, to drive and shut off all lights. So you can be following somebody and they have no idea there's no lights on in the car.
No lights on the car you're driving.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
No headlights, no running lights, no interior lights, nothing.
Oh, okay. It's a kill switch.
Yep. Really has put this car in such high favor with the agencies is the powertrain package, the torque that it puts out with the 8-speed.
Right.
400 pound-feet of torque in a car this size with the 8-speed, it's got great acceleration.
Yeah.
It's not a race car, it's
Right.
not a Hellcat, but it's got great acceleration for what these guys needed to
Right.
do. And quite frankly, they're very well trained on how to drive too, so
Yeah.
they have a little bit of advantage over the regular person on the road.
What's top speed in this? About $160?
About $160.
Remember the time you and I were on this road? you
I
did
do
the
remember. I do. You know, it's funny because this car has to pass a test to do a rolling 180
Right.
degree. So instead of the one you did going forward, this one has to do it in reverse.
Oh, right, right.
It can't be called a Pursuit car unless it can do that.
And how many police cars you built this year? 30,000, you said?
So last year, I thought this was a fun fact. The last 2 years, Dodge was the #1 selling muscle car. And then in the last year, it was the #1 selling police car.
Oh, that's
So we built all the fast cars and then we built the police cars to chase them the next year.
Now, do most manufacturers go with the manufacturer and stay there, or do they switch around a lot depending on?
Well, you know, that's the nice thing about commercial vehicle sales like police cars is once an agency buys your cars, they generally staff up. They have a team of technicians that are trained on your product with our help. They have their own parts department that has our stuff. So I say it's the difference between dating and being married.
Yeah. This must be the most successful platform in the history of the company, isn't it?
It's a long run.
Huh?
2006 to 24.
Yeah, it's
It's a
20
or
years.
23. It's a
Yeah.
very, very long run. Now, along the way, we did spend a lot of money enhancing it and making it better, but the platform itself, to your point,
Right.
is the same.
You think with electric, you'll try to meet a new demographic?
I think we absolutely will pull in some people that would never have looked at a Dodge before.
Right.
Our goal all along with Dodge was to be a single digit. You know, in a 17 million unit market, you can be single digit and be highly successful.
Right.
We wanted to be single digit, but we wanted to have a passionate fan base of the single digit. Now, we will lose some of those. There's no question.
Yeah.
For a while, they may come back. But I think we're going to pull in some new people that would not have looked at us previously. Bullshit. Well, we went with the straight six because we knew there was only going to be a couple cars that we would put it in, and they had to have a pretty big hood because
Right.
of 6 cylinders straight out and
Right.
relatively tall. We didn't slant it like back in the day, so it's
Right.
relatively tall and long. So it will fit in the new generation Charger, and obviously it works perfectly in the new truck. It's a fantastic
Right.
truck engine.
And why not slant it over? That seems
Well,
to
we
work.
could. We
Yeah.
just didn't in the cars that we were going to put it in. We didn't need to.
Right, I see.